Hello everyone, I am back once again with another run for the arcade version of Contra 1. I know I've showcased this game before in the past, including deathless runs for all four of the difficulty settings that the Anniversary Collection has, but yeah, let it be known that I'm actually going to be playing this game on a whole new device here. It's called the Pandora Esports Box, which is it's kind of like what I mentioned in my NES version of Contra 1, like in the run that I had for that game. I actually mentioned that the way I played Contra for the first time ever, which was the NES version, I played it through a device that actually like has 1,000 games, but it's not necessarily a game console or something like that. It's one of those devices basically, and this is what this Pandora Esports Box thing is. I don't think that's what it was called back then, especially considering back then, rather than it being a box like this one that I'm holding right here, it's actually it was modeled after an N64 controller when I first got that device. Then it was also modeled after a Game Boy player when we got like a whole different device that was similar to the one that we got previously. So yeah, I do find it kind of interesting how to play the arcade version of Contra, we have to use one of these. Now you're wondering, why do that when I already have the Anniversary Collection? Well, here's the thing. I think in my deathless runs, I think I don't know if it's just in my deathless runs, but I think I also mentioned this in the casual run that I showcased for both Contra and Super Contra on the arcade, is actually that on the Anniversary Collection, it has these slowdown issues where like the game slows down when a bunch of enemies spawn or when there's a lot going on. The game tends to slow down a lot, and I don't know. I covered deathless runs for all four difficulties, sure, but the thing is that with all those slowdowns being prevalent, it kind of makes the run feel almost like cheated, almost like, because the game slows down, so everything feels reactable at times. Granted, for me it was disorienting, but it was still like reactable, I'd say. When I feel like if it wasn't for those slowdowns, the game might have been actually even harder than what it actually was when it was slowing down a lot. So because of that, even though I managed to beat very hard and hard for the arcade version of Contra, I kind of didn't feel entirely satisfied. Especially when I've seen other folks cover runs like these without the slowdowns. So I was just kind of saying to myself, I look forward to the day that I can actually play this game without slowdowns. And so far, it always seemed like the game would only not slow down if it was on an actual arcade cabinet. But little did I know that the Pandora Esports Box here that I'm holding actually does have that game without the slowdowns. And I'm about to look for it right now here. Yeah, this Pandora Esports Box thing is actually quite interesting because, like I said before, it reminds me of those devices that I used back in the day where you actually look up all kinds of games and you have it all like listed in this menu here. But what's funny is that this time around, like, the font is all modernized. Because I remember back in like 2001 or 2 when I got one of these devices, the menus were all 8-bitty and all you would hear is 8-bit sounds. Nothing sounded modernized like you see here. The fonts were not modernized, and there was certainly no search option for these games either. You just had to scroll until you find the game that you're looking for. I think back then the games were also only NES games, as well as other 80s games, but I'm not really sure on that. Here, more types of games are included, but I'm not really sure if they're even worth playing on the Pandora Esports Box, honestly. I always felt like this type of device was actually more for like economical consumers, like folks who cannot afford the official consoles or something like that. So, but in my case, I'm just using the esports box to play the arcade version of Contra because I learned that this game was actually like it didn't have slowdown issues like the Anniversary Collection did on the Nintendo Switch. So, yeah. And a funny thing about this Pandora Esports Box is that this is actually not even mine. It's actually my mother's, actually. She actually got one of these in LA recently, and I was just like, wow, I didn't think you were into gaming, mama. So, yeah. Obviously, I asked her if I could use it myself, and she said, sure, obviously. So, yeah, obviously, when I learned that she got one of these, I actually was immediately curious as to whether or not the arcade version of Contra was in this. Because she got this, like, I think sometime around the time that I actually managed to get the very hard mode deathless run, so I was just like, Yeah, this sounds like the opportunity that I was waiting for, but I needed to be absolutely sure that it was that. And after testing it, yeah, it was in fact that. It has Contra and it has Super Contra as well, as you can see right here. Although, obviously, you know what I think about Super Contra. It's a game that I actually don't really want to go back to, at least not yet. Maybe until I explore some of the other Contra games that I'm still looking forward to covering on this channel sometime in the future. Maybe I will come back to Super Contra, but for now, probably not. Also, maybe if I can actually hook up like a good controller to actually play, because Super Contra with these arcade controls, I cannot play that game at all, honestly. I need like a controller like the GameCube controller or even the PlayStation controller if that's necessary, because apparently this Pandora esports box can use controllers, but it's mostly the PS3 controllers or PS4 controllers that can work with this apparently. I tried hooking up my PS3 controller because remember that I got a PS3 recently to play Hyperdimension Neptunia. But yeah, I tried connecting it to this esports box thing and it does seem to work, but there doesn't seem to be a way to configure the controls for it, so I can't make it like so that I use the directional buttons and then also press the X button on the PlayStation controller. So yeah, in fact, I think the only controls that I was able to use was the start button to shoot, but there was no way to jump from the looks of it. I tried all the buttons and nothing jumped. So yeah, no ability to configure the controls there. So yeah, no, unless I can find a controller that works, I don't think I'll be able to play Super Contra on this esports box anytime soon. So obviously for this video, I'm only going to cover the arcade version of Contra 1 here, or Contra 1987 as I like to call it sometimes, just to differentiate it from the NES version, which was released in 1988, obviously. So, yeah. As you can see, there's other Contra stuff here, like I said before, but I'm not very fond of playing the Contra games with the esports box because, unlike the Contra games where you play them with, like, game controllers, on the Pandora esports box, unless you can somehow make those PlayStation controllers work on this thing, you are kind of just forced to use these arcade controls, which consist of buttons that are similar to those of arcade cabinets, as well as the arcade stick little thing here, which is not the same as a joystick, obviously, because with a joystick, you just simply have to control it with your thumb, but with a arcade stick, you kind of have to use your hands, sort of. You could use your fingers to just, like, sophisticatedly control your characters or whatever, but it's very janky, honestly, for me. So it's weird for me to do it, obviously, that way. But for arcade Contra or Contra 1987, whatever, honestly, yeah, it's actually not that bad. It's still janky, obviously, and I think in harder difficulties it'll probably be even more harder to deal with, but I think it's doable, unlike Super Contra, so yeah. So with all that said, here we go. We're gonna actually play this game so that you guys can see what it's like to play this game without slowdowns, because that's the only reason I'm even playing this game on the esports box here. So here we go. There's the fancy loading screen, which is something we didn't have with the other devices I used back in 2001 or 2. This also doesn't have that fancy, like, pixely intro that you see when you start the arcade version of Contra 1. Look, as you can see in this example footage, you're going to see that nothing slows down. If you look at my Anniversary Collection version of this game, you'll notice that there's a lot of slowdown even in the example footage here that you're seeing. But here, nothing slows down. Even with all the shooting, all the spawning enemies, with all the hassle going on, nothing slows down. There are a few trade-offs with this version of the game, though, and I'm going to point them out right here before I start playing. But one of those versions is something you're seeing right now, and it's that the resolution for this game is actually stretched for some reason. Maybe it's because the input for this is actually HDMI, which I guess makes sense. And I am playing it on a flat screen too, so I don't know if that affects it too. But yeah, it's a little stretched. But unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way to configure the resolution so that it's like the way it should be. So it is what it is on that front. That's one downside to playing this version of the game. The other downside is that there's no baby mode. Remember that for me, this game is actually pretty hard to play without it. So obviously, not having that as an option makes this game a lot more, like, discouraging to play personally. But any hardcore gamer will probably not find that to be a problem. That's just my own personal pet peeve. The third trade-off here is also that if you're forced to continue, there are going to be some graphical issues that kind of just stick on the screen, and it kind of stays there for like a long time. And chances are that it could even stay for your whole run until you restart the game again. So yeah, it's a lot of inconsistencies with the graphics too, honestly, unless you play the game without dying or continuing for that matter. So yeah, and finally the last trade-off, and for me this is a big one actually, considering all the deathless runs I've covered for Contra recently. The This version of the game on the Pandora esports box doesn't seem to have the other difficulties. Even though there was an option that allowed me to select this game and actually quote unquote set the difficulties, there was options numbers 1 to 4 or something like that, and I did select 4 to see if that would actually take me to the very hard mode of this game, but it did not. And then I tried the other numbers and all of them seem to stay only on normal mode, so I guess the difficulty setting option on this Pandora esports box doesn't work or something, but I couldn't play anything but the normal mode on this version of the game, so that's the only downside. Or should I say, those are the 4 downsides to playing this version of the game. But the biggest pro here is that the game does not slow down, which is what I wanted to experience on this version of the game of Contra 1. So that's what we're going to see right now, how it all goes and whatnot. So here we go. We're going to do this arcade style and actually enter a coin, quote unquote. There's actually a coin button on this esports box, so we're just going to press that to quote unquote insert a coin, or credit, as they called it back in the day. There you see. And now we're gonna start the game here. Right, the start button. It's because I was about to press the A button. Okay, so here, yeah. Hopefully I can do this very well. I did actually grind this game a little bit, like I think like a day before showing it right now, but you know, I've been doing some other stuff that I kind of forgot how to play this game already. But hopefully it all comes back to me. Because this is a game that I like, honestly. I've complained a lot about the arcade version, but, you know, it's still Contra, so there's like a good feeling when you know that it's this game you're playing and not something else. Yeah, so, as you can see, nothing is crashing. Oh, now that I'm covering this game again, there is something worth noting. You see that power-up that's down there? Yeah, notice how it's showing green, it's flashing green? If you leave that while it's flashing green and then proceed over here, the little gate down there that you're supposed to shoot in order to pass the level, it's usually blue if you actually just go in all willy-nilly. But if you wait for that to flash green for a bit, that light that you see right there at the gate is actually green, which is actually kind of interesting. It's green, as you can see. And the interesting part of this whole thing is that no alarm procs. So you're not going to hear any of that or anything like that. So yeah, everything is quiet, which is kind of nice. It's kind of interesting because it feels like a little secret to like disabling a security system or something, which is kind of interesting. If you do shoot this even once though, it does activate the alarms. You're going to see right here, watch. See that? And the gate now turns blue because you activated the alarm. So that's kind of interesting, actually. It's kind of like GoldenEye in that sense, interestingly enough, even before GoldenEye came out, which is kind of insane work. But yeah, there's the first level for you. Now we're here in the second level, bass. Yeah, it's because, yeah, this music is based, obviously, so, yeah. I called it based already. But yeah. It's because, yeah, I already mentioned this in my other previous run for this game that, yeah, the music in this game is pretty good. I'd argue it's even better than the NES version. The NES version will always be more iconic, rightfully so. But yeah, I'd be lying to you if I told you that I didn't like this version more. It feels like a remix of the NES audio, even though this is actually, for all intents and purposes, the original audio for Contra 1. It's also good. Yeah. All of this is very, very classic Contra. It's amazing to think that this was how Contra first played. Since I'm covering this game again... Hold on a second. Hold on. I just want to get this thing out of the way. Ooh. If I lose the spread right here, that'll be curtains. Not really. Okay, hold on, because this is also a part right here where I need to be kind of quick with it, otherwise I'll mess up. Yeah, right there. Trying to do this without the GameCube controller, which was what I used to play this game on the Anniversary Collection on the Nintendo Switch, but without the GameCube controller, my movement is going to be a little janky. Thankfully, not that much. Hold on a second, because it's right here where things get kind of nasty. Ooh, forgot about that guy. It's somewhere around here. Right, there we go. Ooh, dang it. I keep missing. This thing always trips me up. And it didn't go down. Really? We're really doing this? Okay, there we go. Jeez. There we go. Destroy this. Dang it. It didn't destroy it yet. Dang it. The sturdiness is real with this thing. Yeah, no, this game, without the baby mode, losing the spread here really sucks, honestly. It's like Contra 4 in a way, where if you lose your items, it kind of just ruins you for the majority of the game. And you end up dying a lot because of it. Because these enemies are still overwhelming, even in this version of the Contra game. I'm going to try to see if I can get a spread here. Sometimes a spread does spawn here, but sometimes it doesn't. If I got lousy luck... Okay, no, it's actually pretty decent luck. Okay, but I gotta watch out with those rollers, because something worth noting about those rollers is that if they explode on you, like if you shoot the thingy over there that lets you proceed or progress or whatever, say that those rollers are coming like around here or here and you're still back over there. If you jump and those rollers are coming your way and the thing gets destroyed and the rollers disappear and explode, obviously, that explosion actually kills you, which is kind of insane. So you gotta be careful with that, obviously. Okay, so, yeah, there's that, obviously. I talk more a little bit, but remember that this version of the Contra game has a timer, so I have to be a little quick with it. There was something I really wanted to mention about this game, though. Hopefully I don't forget by the time I get to a point where I can actually talk about it. I gotta watch out with this. There we go, we got that out of the way. You could tell that I'm using the arcade controls as opposed to any controller for this game because, as I mentioned before, not any controller works with the Pandora's esports box. Just by all the button mashing and the rotation of the arcade stick, you'll know that I'm using the arcade controls that way. Okay, here comes another critical part of the game. This. Yeah, I should destroy that drone gun because that drone gun usually gives you problems. Make sure all these heathens are gone. These uncultured swines. Destroy these bubbles, and I gotta be careful with them because these things, they sometimes can get through my spread shot and just kind of take me out of nowhere. Like, especially that one right there. I was trying to get sneaky with it. There we go. I think I've mentioned how this version of the boss here in base 2 is actually harder than in the NES version, specifically because they're more sturdier in this one. They're more resilient. It takes forever to take them out. In the NES version, it only takes like 2 jumps to actually take this thing out completely. They also don't throw out a lot of bubbles, but in this version it does. I'm gonna try to do this very, very quickly here. Hold on a second. Right here. Okay, there we go. Got that, okay. Just shoot all this too. I gotta be careful here because these enemies do shoot a lot more aggressively. Gotta watch out with everybody. Watch out with that guy. Yeah, right there. Proceed with caution. Jump here because this guy shows up. There we go. I'm doing pretty good so far, despite having died earlier. Well, right there. Watch out with that guy. Oh shit! Right there. What? Right there. Right there. Oh shoot! Dang it. Okay, this could be bad. There is a machine gun there. Shoot it. I have to shoot it right there. Oh. You know what? Oh, and the power up deleted and I wanted to get it. Fluff my nutters. Is that one gonna delete too? Oh, I can't do nothing about that. Yeah, if you don't got a power up here, you're pretty much screwed basically. Okay, but there is still hope to beat this, honestly. We might not be able to 1cc it though. Oh shoot. I jumped and I don't think I should have. Dang it. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. If I had a power up, this would have been easy to do. Oh shoot, right. You're gonna see those graphical issues right here. Watch out with that. Watch out with that, watch out with that. Watch out with all of that. Just so that I'm not constantly mashing, I'm going to try to get myself a laser right here. Unless I can get something better than that. Oh, no, I can't. Okay, so never mind. I was trying to get that balloon there, because sometimes there's a machine gun there, but... And I prefer the machine gun over the laser, but... Sometimes it's a laser, too, but I missed it either way, so... Maybe, yeah. Something that makes the arcade version of Contra 1 a lot harder than the NES version is that the power-ups are not always guaranteed to show up there, honestly. If you have a power-up already, usually the power-ups stop appearing altogether, which is kind of annoying, actually. Because you don't really get to switch your power-ups, which is incredibly annoying. Okay, let me see if I can... Yeah, there we go. Gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Okay, right there. Uh-oh, I was about to get hit by that. Okay. Ooh. One thing I don't like about the laser is that it's very precise. Like, you can't really just, you can't just aim nowhere, like nothing, like the spread. You have to actually be precise. No, and for an area like this right here, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Okay, here comes this part. I don't like this part one bit. There's that one. There's this guy. Okay. There we go. Don't even have to worry about the shrimps here. Right there. Damn, dodging all that is kind of insane work. Uh-oh. Dang it. Fluff my nerves. Okay. I tried to get a hold of them, but I couldn't. Dang it, I was trying to jump over that. Okay, we gotta go crazy on this shit. We got another continue, okay. Okay, we're gonna be able to beat this at least, but damn. Yeah, no, without power-up, this part is just insane. You know that part where I was actually, like, lasering all those heads with the spiders, with the spitting, all those mouths with the spitting spiders? Yeah, no, that part, I remember in the Anniversary Collection part of the run that I made, I actually remember saying that it's actually easy if you're actually just playing with the GameCube controller, but if you do this with the arcade controls, going through that area with all those spitting mouths is actually a lot more difficult because of the jankiness of these controls. So, yeah, damn. Yeah, but yeah, that's going to be the run right here. We actually at least beat it. We didn't game over completely this time, which is kind of nice. Goes to show you that I'm actually still okay at this game, even with the jankiness of these controllers. But yeah, no, I still personally prefer to play it on the Switch, but it's just that I really don't like the slowdowns, so... Maybe that's not even true then. Maybe I actually do prefer to play it here. I just kind of wish there was like a controller I could use for this. I'd play this a lot more regularly otherwise. But like, damn. Anyways, I want to enter my name here as a formality. There was something I wanted to say about this game, but I kind of just forgot because, again, this game is just very intense with it. I do like the music that plays when you finish this whole game, though. Sounds like for dancing. See that? A lot of the music for Contra is just so good, honestly. Just listen to it. Very good stuff. But anyway, so yeah, that's gonna be the run for Contra 1987. As you can see, the graphical issues are there because I continued, obviously. I think it does go away, but after some time, and it's really when it wants to, really. So, yeah. But again, if I'm playing this to like get deathless, and then that kind of shouldn't really matter, honestly. So, right now, I was just trying to show this in a casual sense, just so you guys can see what it's like to play this game without slowdowns. You saw that final part of the game where it just didn't slow down whatsoever, and that's really, really good. Like, that's what I wanted to see. If anyone knows how to actually, like... I don't know if it's possible to even see the other difficulties, because if there was options to select this game and even like select difficulties for this game, there should be a way to actually set the difficulty to very hard. So if anyone has used a Pandora's esports box and knows how to actually get the harder difficulties for this game, do let me know, because I actually would like to try this again with the harder difficulties. But for now, obviously, I'm going to try to see if I can even get deathless with these arcade controllers, because as you saw, it was pretty janky for me, honestly. I ended up dying a few times because I wasn't able to like move correctly with the arcade stick. Something I probably would do a lot more easily if I had like an actual controller like the GameCube controller, or even the PlayStation controller, honestly. But anything that's a game controller and not this arcade thingamabobber. Although I will say that playing with the arcade controls is not bad either, honestly. I think if you're trying to have just like a fun old time, this arcade control stuff is actually not bad, honestly. It's just if you're trying to take this game a little too seriously, which I guess is kind of my thing with these games sometimes, is that I do try to take it a little seriously. Specifically because I do want to get like deathless in a lot of these games, since getting deathless is really, really fun. It's like a very fun accomplishment to get. I'm a guy who doesn't really like accomplish a lot when it comes to playing games competitively, so being able to like get stuff like this kind of makes me feel like at least good at something, kind of a thing. So yeah, and that's what Contra has basically given me so far, the ability to like perform well in a game. But yeah, so anyway, I don't know, there was still something I wanted to mention about this game, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah, no, I don't remember. Okay, so I guess I'll just have to like mention it some other time or something. So anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Once again, it's just another casual run of Contra 1987, and hope you guys liked it, obviously. And for those who watched, thank you for watching as always. Hope to catch you fellas for whatever else I decide to showcase on this channel. But for now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.